Уважаемые коллеги, добрый день.
Distinguished
Мы будем начинать
colleagues,
нашу
good
работу.
afternoon.
Я рад
We're
всех
going to
приветствовать.
start our
Большое
work, and
спасибо за
I
интерес к нашему
am happy to
мероприятию,
greet
к
you
теме
all, and I'm
внешнеэкономической
grateful for your
деятельности.
interest towards
Сегодня мы
our
поговорим о
event and
работе
economic
внешней
activities. We are
торговли
going to talk
в
about
новых реалиях, которые мы
international trade,
переживаем
foreign
уже
trade, a new
полтора года.
reality that we've been
С нами на
experiencing
связи
for a
будет
year and a
представитель
half,
Государственной Думы,
and
с
the
нами присутствует
representative
представитель
of
Института
the
развития,
government,
бизнеса и
Duma, is going to join us, as well as some business representatives, and we are going to have a really fruitful discussion about current issues and possible solutions of everything that's going on inside our country and in our international policy. So first, I would like to give the floor to State Duma Member of Parliament, Chairperson of Expert Council for Foreign Economic Activity Development after the State Duma Committee on Economic Policy, Alexander Maximov, and you pay a lot of attention to expert development and economy development, and we are discussing a lot of issues on experts. We give you the floor. Thank you, dear ladies and gentlemen. I'm really glad to greet you in this amazing forum who is busy with solving such economic issues, and it's great that you've gathered together on this land of the Republic of Bashkortostan, as this is one of the most economically developed region, as well as developed in foreign trade. What I would like to draw attention to, Mikhail Mishustin said once that the economy of our country has turned towards the east, and this turn demanded new legislation, new solutions, and we've created new and we've accepted new bills, and there is a new question which is being discussed in providing support to our exporters for and we hope that you will appreciate that support, and we will definitely support you all. So recently, in our first reading of our bill, we've passed one bill that provides some rules to Export Center in terms of insurance activities when deals are implemented within the country, and this support is extremely important, and this bill will be accepted really soon. Nowadays, Mikhail Mishustin has set a goal to develop foreign economic activity policy, and now today your session should discuss what is on demand, where we should focus on, and how we should build our policy, towards which direction. And yeah, some people say that turning to the east is just some temporary action, and tomorrow everything will get back. But dear colleagues, let's forget about West. No one in West is going to expect us for decades, and sanctions were, are, and will be. That's our reality, and we have to get used to that, and we should keep working with these sanctions. We shouldn't rely on any luck or thinking about restoring our relationships. So it's like a crusade from Europe. This special military operation that was just a channel that blew up, and all our relationships have been broken, all bridges have been burned, and they are not going to be restored. So, turning to the east was actually existed from the very beginning of our history, but then it was forgotten because we started making some windows towards west. Unfortunately, it was forgotten. But Nowadays, we're dismounting our bank system, so we are forced to build up new relationships with with East. And Bashkortostan has a long-term experience with building such relationships with Kazakhstan, for example, or starting with Islamic banking, or returning to exchange policy, exchange operations. So, dear colleagues, please discuss this question. I see the representatives of older generations here, and you all know what exchange is. That was just some measures, some embodiment of trade, and now we should restore this exchange in a civilized way when all the structures of different products and goods can build up a system or a structure, and such structure has already been discussed today with the representatives of Chamber of Commerce or Customs Service. And yeah, probably that's not that easy, but it can facilitate our relationship with other countries who are afraid of some sanctions, and that will help us build and restore some relationships, trade relationships. I wish luck to your forum, and I'm expecting some solutions. And then we will get this great memo report of all your solutions, and we'll build up
Большое спасибо, Александр Александрович. Если вы
great
позволите,
relationships.
я немного дополню. Я полностью
Thank you,
согласен, что
Mr.
наши бывшие
Maximov. I completely
коллеги и
agree
партнеры
that
совершили
our
попытку
ex-partners and
вырвать
colleagues
Россию из
tried
мировой
to
экономики, отключить
tear
полностью
Russia
банковскую
out
систему. Но
of
что мы
the
слышим в
global
последнее время, что
economy,
происходит?
turning off our banking
Последнее
system. But what's going
заседание
on
БРИКС
recently, the
показало о
last
расширении. Мы слышим такие
meeting showed that
новые термины в наше время, как
nowadays we
деглобализация,
hear new
деиндустриализация
terminology as
Европы, в
deglobalization,
частности. Мы слышим
destabilization,
о создании новой
or
архитектуры
creating
внешнеэкономической связи.
architecture of
Это при том,
foreign
что
economy,
в этом году Россия заканчивает
taking into account that
работу
this
в
year
экономике с
Russia
3% практически ростом и
is
7%
finishing this year
ростом
with
в
about
обработке,
3%
когда в других западных
economy
промышленно сильно
increase,
развитых
while in the
странах
West,
результат
in some
к концу года
economically
оказывается
developed
отрицательным.
countries,
Это Германия
their
и
final result
Нидерланды.
is negative,
Спасибо вам
like in
большое
Germany or the
за
Netherlands.
участие. Мы обязательно
Thank
оставим
you
время
a
для
lot for your
вопросов. У нас здесь
participation.
много
We will
представителей бизнеса
leave some time, allot some time for
Спасибо.
questions.
Сейчас бы я хотел предоставить слово первому заместителю министра экономики
floor
Республики
to the
Башкортостан Айрату Салатовичу Фархетдинову.
I
Башкортостан
would like to give the floor
промышленно
to
развитый регион,
Prime Minister
внешнеторговые
of
связи с
Trade
отдельными
and Commerce in the
так же,
Republic of
как и на федеральном
Bashkortostan,
уровне, стремительно растут, особенно с
all
дружественными
relationships
странами.
with
Айрат Салатович, скажите, пожалуйста, о
friendly
работе и какие
countries
перспективы вы видите в
are
республике
increasing. So can you please tell us what
взаимодействия с
perspectives you
коллегами
see in the interaction with the foreign colleagues? Thank you, Mr. Galiulin, and I'm grateful that I can represent our region. First and foremost, I would like to say that no matter what challenges we have nowadays, our companies have managed to adapt. The first challenge was during the COVID period, and even though we have some limits nowadays because of special military operation, we see that we have increase in around $5 billion economic increase, and it's about 3/4 of our economic benefit. And I believe that everyone who's sitting at this round table can agree with that. When we monitored all the activities of different companies, and in spring they talked about some deficiency of deliveries, but now in September it's increased, and now it's about increased it 5 times, and what's being done for export development and strengthening the economic situation. And the curator of our Ministry of National Representative, a lot of people have probably heard of that, and they help all companies in the local market and also going global. And we are one of the regions who are in the list of top 3 companies who have learned how to work with international foreign partners and how to go to global market. And we've been developing such directions as how to help to develop faster. And as our experience shows, there was a special economic zone in 2019, and by the end of the previous year, it increased in 75%, and now we're working on the expanding of this, and now it's complete up to 50%, and we're planning to develop furthermore. And also, we are planning to construct industrial parks as well. Nowadays, in the Republic of Bashkortostan, there are about 11 of them, and 3 are being built, plus about 19 industrial parks are going to be constructed. It's launch such. We are ready to prepare this special site venue for launching, and I would like to thank the representative of the Ministry of Commerce of Russian Federation. And last year, we managed to build RV1 electronic industrial park, and we can work with those components which are on high demand in a global market. And last year, we had to face particular business and feedback that some procedures that we have here, we thought that maybe that's just our problem, but we talked to our colleagues and we realized that was just a trend that's been developing, and we've developed a program for protecting investitions in our republic. It was launched on the 1st of July, and to get this support, all procedures are simplified with a minimal value of investitions, and about $250 million income had to be proved, but nowadays we don't have it anymore. Plus, people used to be forced to prove that they had some investigation and financial support, but nowadays it's been simplified. So to become a priority, to make your project prioritative, people had to submit a lot of documents, but now this vicious circle has been broken. And talking about the documents, the package of 18 documents had to be submitted, but now people need only 3 documents. And one more thing that we're talking, that's financial support, and people needed to provide, again, a lot of documents, but now there's only 1 document needed for protection and protection of investitions, so talking about subsidiaries and so on. And a separate direction is connected with the international foreign trade, where logistic structure should be provided. So for a very long time, logistics and shipment procedure were beyond our support, but now we've received this approval of including this logistic structure and support in our program. And pharmacy company Farmland has already built their logistic complex, plus Agro-Express company has also used this new opportunity, and that helps them to accelerate their delivery, their shipment, and also this export direction is also connected with the transport structure. And one of the global projects that have been restarted in the USSR, that's Sibay-Podolsk railway, which shortens the way to get to Kazakhstan from 250 kilometers only. And we hope to see their realization. Thank you a lot.
Indeed, after February 22, both regional and federal authorities need to make urgent decisions and to support businesses in an urgent way, in an emergency way. And we did it. We concentrated our attention at the most demanded measures. I mean, discounted finance, compensating for the expenses for transportation. Right now, we're thinking of launching, this will be done next year, a program for the points of industrial presence, I mean industrial parks, technology parks, and trade and logistics hubs, so that our business could comfortably deploy their activities to take up niches in friendly countries, but all of our measures wouldn't have been possible to implement without our backbone institute of Russian Expert Center, which pays a lot of attention to the support and establishing digital services for the exporters. I mean, digital infrastructure for the exporters, single point of contact. And here, Russia is among the leaders in terms of digitalization. United States, China, and our country are those countries who have independent digital infrastructure, like public services for the population. Other countries either don't have it, or they use some frameworks made by other companies. Artur, I have a question to you. Which new services are you planning to launch this year and next year? So, how is your work organized? Thank you so much, Artur. Many thanks to all the organizers who gave me an opportunity to speak at such a large-scale event. Today, I would like to talk a little bit about digitalization, because actually it perceives into all of it's present in all of our business areas. About 10 or 15 years, I remember how we were carrying kilograms and bunches of papers, hard copies of documents to the customs office. What we see now, 100% electronic declaring, categorizing, risk management, and nothing of this kind wouldn't have been possible without electronic technologies, digital technologies. Russian Expert Center is not lagging behind, at least we're trying our best. 3 years ago, we launched a state digital platform. We called it very simple, My Export. It's only 3 years old, and what is expected of us? Well, actually, to repeat, to do the same the public services Gosuslugi did for the population. We are doing everything possible to meet expectations. And in 3 years, we already have 116 services online, which are available to the exporters in online mode. It's a single point window, and now 1 of every 5th exporter is registered with the platform. We made a research, and we found out that once registered, once signed up, the exporters are actively involved in the process of receiving those measures of support. And in 3 years, the amount of measures of support, absolutely various types, which were rendered through the platform, now it's more than 113. Why it is important to sign up, use the platform, join in with our digital digital club, let's call it this way. We are planning to establish, on the basis of My Export digital platform, a unified ecosystem for foreign economy. And we're not alone. We have a lot of partners, we have a lot of friends. All this work, actually, there are 16 institutions, public agencies involved, Ministry of Trade, Russian Post, we have commercial partners, we have businesses. There are more than 180 contractors registered with the platform who provide various types of services for exporters. We're actively integrating with the regional portals for the support of foreign export. We are proactive in terms of federal level or those provided by the Institute of Development, but also those measures which is provided by the region. And we are also working on the digitalization of the services of Export Support Center. We have 82 branch offices in the regions. What makes the platform special is that the platform minimizes the required amount of documents because it is connected to the interdepartment interaction, cooperation platform, and we receive some of the documents from the relevant departments. The services are categorized. We have analytical reports and research. Well, analytics is still in the progress of implementation. You can receive a report with the cold list of potential clients. It is still demanded by the exporters. Measures of public support, governmental support, it's one of the most important. It has both opportunities to participate in exhibitions, business missions, supported by the government, to have subsidies, as the Russian Export Center is the agent of the government. The most popular subsidy is for transportation costs, but also you may use compensation for the certification costs, R&D, amalgamation. Another block is promotion in foreign markets. First of all, we help our exporters to go to foreign trade platforms, then we help to find foreign clients. They are provided by our 13 branch offices abroad, and also other partners, other contractors can help. Certification and licensing, number 5. You can receive export licenses, certifications, herbal, veterinarian. Now we're working with the Chamber of Trade and Industry to implement the full cycle to obtain a certificate of origin, accompanying supplies, customs unions with the governmental support. We're also actively promoting financial products, loans for the companies, small-scale and mid-scale programs, warranties, guarantees. Well, let me say why you should use this platform. Some of the measures of support are available only there. For example, compensation of costs only, export licenses, if you're planning on exporting wild plants, recursing plants, or fish. So our portal is the only source you can get the certificate from. And phytosanitarian certificate, and we see that we received already more than 70,000 starting from June. This was done through My Export. It's quite a good result. The resources of the institutes of development are not endless. We cannot cover everything which could support our exporters. And as part of the digital platform, we opened a service which is called Export Professionals. It's a B2B marketplace. I'm sure you're familiar with the system. Yandex services, Avia sales, where you can make an application and you can find a contractor for a certain area of business. And we have highlighted 9 areas, and we have 35 services available, which are rendered through our platform, but our certified contractors, there are 180 of them, 480 of them. The services are broken down into 3 services. We have free of charge services, which the clients may use from our certified partners, general consultations in logistics, searching for a partner, electronic trade platforms, foreign ones. 24 services belong to paid ones, and 8 services are provided for the company's small and mid-scale business through the export support centers. In December, we're expecting to have 8 more services fully digitalized, dedicated to participation in business missions, exhibitions, and fairs. 2 services will be provided by the Center for the Export Support based on co-financing. I mean transportation and certification. Colleagues, all of us are kindly invited to cooperate. This is it, so I'm ready to answer any of your questions. Artur, thank you so much for such an exhaustive and detailed report about measures of support. You said that already 13 branch offices of Russian Export Center were open abroad. Not so long ago, there were only 10. Also, we have a network of our trade representatives. There were 5 of them. Now there are 59 of them. And we have a trade representative in Kazakhstan of Russian Federation. Anton Loginov. Anton, tell us please about the prospects of development of Russian and Kazakhstan relations, the role of Institute of Trade offices, developing foreign trade, measures of support of export and import. And it's quite symbolic, I think, that we are convening in Ufa because next year we are going to have an interregional forum, Russia and Kazakhstan. You have the floor.
Thank you, Lord. Good afternoon, Mr. Galiulin. I'm greeting you from Amsterdam. I'm concerned that all our colleagues have already encountered with Interpress service, and 4 new Interpress have been opened in Philippines, Mexico, Ethiopia, and one of the tasks of Interpress is to assist in trade and investigation and all the features connected with that, analytics, work with the limits, and so on. So, turning back to Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan receives a lot of attention from the world as the biggest economy, and the neighboring with Russia. Russian President Mr. Putin visited Kazakhstan as well as alongside heads of Azerbaijan, Turkey, and other European countries. And on the agenda were the economic issues. So the country, Kazakhstan, is utilizing the situation nowadays, and they're attracting agriculture, logistics, and other events. And every time they're interested in increasing the amount of produced goods, and sometimes it's even prohibited to export some goods in 2025, and they're talking about protection of import because it's growing from 12 to 16%, and there is great interest towards the Kazakhstan market, because Asian market is about 75 million of people, and Kazakhstan celebrated the growth of their population up to 20 million. million people, and Kazakhstan market can produce for the internal market as well as for the global market, Asian market as well. So, according to the statistics, about 41 existing companies, functioning companies, are in Kazakhstan, which are registered, and 45% of those companies have Russian participation. Well, their main scope is trade and services. So, and the value of the projects that have the investigation and trade interest exceed $20 billion, their benefit. And the fossil fuel industry, machinery, and logistics industries are developing. So, but not all the venues, not all the industries are ready to accept new investors, and a lot of questions should be addressed. And our Association of Industrial Parks are already discussing how to manage such venues. Talking about logistics, Kazakhstan is developing the transit from Kazakhstan to China, from north to south, and all the shipment through Kazakhstan is going to growth, starting from some petrol stations up to logistic distribution centers and kind of dry ports, and up to thousands of kilometers of roads and railroads have been built. Talking about trade, Russia is one of the leading partners, trade partners of Kazakhstan, and Turkey, Azerbaijan, Middle East have already joined China and Russia. Europe is looking for some detour ways, and Iran is also getting ready to join. So the interesting things are logistics, mentality, Russian language that is used, and some spheres already still have some USSR solutions, also talking about different technologies of forest preserving or water generation. So, and there is a great pressure on Kazakhstan, and great business is thinking how to count on the turnover, and the main turnover has the currency of Russian ruble and tenge, and Russian bank VTB is expanding its presence in Kazakhstan nowadays. All the questions that have been mentioned are monitored, and we hope to solve them and any issues that arise. And finally, I would like to point out that the representatives of Bashkortostan in Trade Representative Office and the Russian attaché has joined recently. So thanks a lot for your questions. I'm ready for your attention. I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you for your speech, and all the measures of support that have been mentioned, and the one that our colleagues talked about are directed to business support. And I would like to give the floor to Mr. Malinovsky, is the representative of Irkutsk Entrepreneurship Association. So, Mr. Malinovsky, can you please tell us about the conditions that you have to work with and support that you provide, how efficient that is, and maybe you can comment on that, how to correct that. Good afternoon, dear Mr. Galiulin, dear colleagues. I'd like to address the trade development from the entrepreneurship side. So let's talk about the terminology of Europe substitution and working with some free economic zones. So currently, even there is some active integration of some social and business companies, I see that there is a huge gap between different terminologies, and a lot of summits are held, but foreign trade doesn't work with those countries. We don't have any logistics or payment system. We don't know what we're talking about. Like, we have got different terminology, different language. So let's talk about some real cases that we faced. For example, Myanmar country. Our country shook hands on the highest level. Then they traveled all around Russia and agreed on strategic interaction and trade development between our countries. And I personally gathered a delegation of tour agencies and other spheres who are ready to provide this interaction. And then we talked about the best point, entering point. So the best thing to start with is tourism, and then we can proceed to some business interaction. But that initiative actually failed, it died. And we do hope that our work will be resumed in terms of foreign trade. Then Latin America, Latin America-Russian relationship. We don't have any payment system. So what are we going to discuss in our summit? So we had some negotiations with Cuban representatives. I don't know whether they written down that or not. We had the first shipment between Mexico and Cuba, and we understood we were able to pay. And we thought that we would be able to provide some shipment of flour to Cuba, and they published the order, and we tried to build that logistics. But then when it came to payment again, it was proved again that payment system doesn't work. There are no banks that can provide us with some cross accounts or something like that. Yes, of course, there are some other banks in other countries, but the sums of money are so big that other partners are not ready to work with them. Then China, yeah, they are our friends, but maybe last year or a year before, they started their long ago signed legislation to prohibit, not really prohibit, but to say that the delivery of brand goods can be imported to Russia only if the original company, the manufacturer, gives their approval. But nowadays, in this political situation, it's absolutely impossible, of course. Then, some Russian manufacturers have faced the fact that it's impossible to purchase some details for European-made equipment. Now we switch to Chinese parts for our equipment, but are they going to fit? Yes and no, depending on the type of the equipment. Even if we import some European equipment illegally, we don't have any specialists to maintain such equipment. So what our companies have faced with trying to purchase some equipment in China. First, that's language barrier. Our specialists are trying to establish the dialogue with the Chinese companies, and they feel really comfortable on global market. And Chinese companies are used to talk in money language, and if nothing is bought for the first or second time, then the third time they stop answering us. So then, okay, we started interaction, but there is a question if China can build any equipment based on our drawings. But what kind of manual are they going to have? Like what language will be used? English, Chinese, but our people, our specialists don't speak those languages. So that's a problem. And we've created a team of engineers in China who are ready to accompany who are ready to lead our companies from negotiation point to the launching point. But we need such a team that's as a measure of support that we're talking about, to create this team that can maintain our relationship and interaction with the Chinese companies. Of course, the government is going to finance that. That would be nice. In October, Mr. Putin ordered to create a Central Eurasian Transport corridor. That's China, between China and Russia, some other countries. And Mr. Galiulin and the specialists got in charge, and they started to cooperate with one of those countries, with Mongolia, and so that we can see how this can be developed on land. And first we started talking about some free economic zones. So there's a free zone on Tanbulak in Mongolia, it's free economic zone on the border with Russia. So what have we discovered that used to be out of date or not interesting, but nowadays we can locate our manufacturing there in such zones, or relocate some manufacturing to that zone. So what's the idea? Those companies that lost their export market, like European market, for example, they can launch their manufacturing there and label their goods with "Made in Mongolia." So it will not bring any benefit to Russia, but it will preserve the manufacturing. Then, when we cannot import any equipment because of sanctions, we can locate that equipment in that free economic zone. And so we label that with like "Made in Mongolia." So, and then we export that back, and the prices, different prices are set then only because of this transportation. Plus, it's quite interesting that in that zone, in that territory, we can substitute, replace some details. So, for example, one machine just left that place, got replaced, and then got back. Like Tesla is the closest way where we can maintain Tesla is Finland. But now with these free zones, we can work differently. Plus, we've collected some requests from our trade ministry. Like, who would be ready to locate their manufacturing in that free zone and provide their services? For example, timber production that further on used for cardboard production, or the production of polystyrol, or any other greenhouses with some plants. Those are the examples. But such zones demand a lot of effort and contribution in infrastructure, and government support is really important here. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for your speech and certain solutions. So if you allow, I would like to say that directing our business to Latin America, Cuba, for example, we are planning to expand this mechanism of insurance of external trade deals, XR, which will let us go to the market of developing countries and talking about language barrier and supporting of some particular companies, the government has decided to create the Center of Expert Support, and Mr. Kim is the head of the center, and they support business and provide solutions. So recently, one of the companies shipped some production to North Africa and didn't get any payment, so the counteragent refused to pay because of some limitations and impossibility of pay. But this center found the solution, and so I call you upon using their services. And turning to the east, as it's been mentioned, cannot be possible without creating the right infrastructure, and the government has decided to create transport and logistic corridors north, south, west and east, and Black Sea pool on that basis. The plans might be realized, and now we have Mr. Isayev, CEO of the Directorate of International Transport Corridors. I believe that he regrets he can't be here because Bashkortostan is his motherland, but we give you the floor. How do you assess all the logistics?
Greetings, dear colleagues. Unfortunately, I have to mention that I'm not able to be present. My parents and I was born in Ufa. It's the best in the world. I love it. And actually, it happens so that I work in Moscow and live in Moscow, but I would like to say a few words about your question. It's a good question, but the geography and the challenges and opportunities. See, Western sanctions and restrictive measures made that they opened the urgency to create the transport backbone of Russia, which will be resilient to external impacts. When the first package of sanctions was imposed, we needed to rearrange our transportation system to fulfill the export requirements of Russian Federation. At the same time, the government of Russia created a headquarters for the transport logistics corridors, headed by Andrei Belousov. Some very important decisions were made in terms of routes which ensure transportation. Actually, this was done as part of rearrangement of foreign trade of Russia. Since Western companies left Russia, the exporters they went to the friendly countries, trying to export there. And it has become crucially important to ensure transportation and logistics support. There are some issues in terms of transactions. Believe me, the government, the Minister of Finance, the central bank are trying to resolve these issues. Now we're trying to come up with the measures how to exchange not only dollars, but also Mali or Tanzania. We could provide exchanges, we can provide transactions in the seashells or stones. Well, I'm joking, of course. It's a priority issue. It's controlled by the president and the prime minister. The work which was done as part by the headquarters, we analyzed the volume, the geography of supplies by countries, all the statistics, and in terms of throughput of transportation infrastructure in the most perspective routes. We understand that strategically Bashkortostan belongs to a north-south corridor. It has access to Kazakhstan through Orenburg, through Yeletsk, and also we are working on the opportunities to increase the throughput of Ilets station, because as of now there is no enough capacities. What else? As part of the development of prospective areas, and which we also included Eastern, Russia, China direction, Azov Sea, Black Sea, Turkey, North Africa, and also international corridor north-south, which I mentioned before. These are Caspian countries, and further to India, Middle East, and going to the Persian Gulf. At the end of 2022, the government established the plans for the development, which were supported by the required finance, and finance not from the national development, but from the budget. Soft infrastructure, hard infrastructure, which Artur mentioned, establishing transport and logistics centers. This would be supported by the budget. This means that, yes, the country understood that we shouldn't be confined to West, and the top management of the country understood that the risks should be diversified from the point of view of foreign trade of Russia with the participant countries, and they signed roadmaps by Mikhail Mishustin, which included more than 7,000 events, both for railroads, car roads, and also internal sea routes development to increase the depths of the rivers, main rivers for transportation. As a conclusion, I would like to mention the following. Traditionally, Russian Federation produces and sells for export and import about 1.3 billion. Yes, we lost some of the volumes because we had some problems with the pipelines, and that Maersk and Evergreen also, they don't work anymore. But we have our internal carriers. I would like to mention Dela Transcontainer, Feska group of companies, Fininvest, who are also participating. They use their own money to develop internal backbone infrastructure. They understand that logistics is a very important industry for the country. Without logistics, the external sales will be equal to zero. Artur, thank you very much for invitation. Thank you for giving me the floor. It's been a pleasure to see familiar faces. I wish you a good day. If you don't mind, I will turn off the video, but I will continue listening to you. I will stay online. Thank you very much for your work. Indeed, it's very serious, it's very big, and Alexander, you are doing a good job representing Bashkortostan at the federal level. I've seen your work at Andrei Belausov's office. I would like to thank you for your work. And today we've mentioned that we are turning eastwards, and the journalist actually asked the question if this turn is long-term, as the situation may change, geopolitics, and business would want to go back to its habitual areas and turn back westwards. Since the investments of this kind of the public budget and corporate sector, they are very sufficient, it will not be possible to stop them, because many companies will lose business and economic sense. This kind of ambitions and firm plans, they are not just provided for by the budget or some public governmental documents, but the whole economy sense actually pushes us to develop. Our last speaker, also a representative of business and a consumer of all the solutions which we are offering together with the professional societies and businesses, CEO of Уральский лес, meaning the forests of Urals, Nagman Tasmukhanov. He represents the industry which demonstrates very good performance regardless of 2022 events, as the main routes were aimed at the west, and they had to rearrange very quickly and ensure logistics eastwards of the end products. Please, you have the floor. How does the industry feel? What are the perspectives of timber processing in the foreign sense?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good evening, dear participants. I'm really glad to greet you on our land so shortly about our company. Ural Wood is one of the leading timber manufacturers. Our company is the company of full cycle, and we grow the materials that we need, and we also process them. So we manufacture plywood. Everyone knows what plywood is. That's ply, pallet, and other fuel materials. And as it has been mentioned, we've been our exports oriented towards America and Europe. We had about 80% of our export there. Nowadays, we've got some negative factors that influence our activity because of sanctions that were imposed in 2022, and so it's been concluded that plywood has suffered a lot, and for about 90%. And our company has a great history, centuries, and our products are famous in many places. Like we've just finished talking to the representatives of Kazakhstan, for example, and people there also know about our production, as well as in Middle East, or the representatives of furniture production and so on. We also talked to the delegation from Saudi Arabia, and they are also familiar with our business. And in comparison to 2021, when our profit was about 6.2 billion, now we have only 2 billion of our profit. And now we turn into Asia and Middle East relationship. Our companies are representative in Azerbaijan, Turkey, Israel, but in other countries. But since the political situation, it's been said that Israel refuses to collaborate with us, unfortunately. So, and our historical logistic markets were the countries of Middle East and post-Soviet Union countries. And if the colleagues who talked before talked about the logistics, so I'll provide you some figures. So nowadays, logistics is quite expensive, since the turnover of cargo has increased from Asia, for example, and we used to send that by means of railway. And even if we talk about shipment within Russia, and we deliver all the raw materials seasonally in spring, for example, and only 1 or 2 times the cargo was delivered, but now we have only, but now it's delivered only once. So we've changed the railway means of logistics to just automobiles. So there are some indexes from 3,000 to 4,000 rubles of shipping our products to Turkey. So, and there are, for example, Azerbaijan imposes some railway indexes for the export delivery. They've grown up to 9%. We're talking about marine water delivery. It's been decreased. We are not doing the same value of shipment as we had in 2021, but we are not going to stop here. Even though we left some of the markets, and that's not our fault that we left them, but anyway, in Asia, in Asian markets and Middle Eastern markets, our share is growing. So we've grown from 7 to 15% the turnover between Russia and Kazakhstan with the partners who are we working with. We're working with about 31 companies of Kazakhstan, and we're planning to increase that from 14 to 20%. And of course, on the one hand, we've lost European markets, but because of great competition that exists from central Russia, we've moved to our traditional historical markets. And that stimulates us, motivates us to work better on cost and quality of our production and create new products, go to deeper treatment. So if we're doing some plywood panel or cut timber, that's a half-prepared material, but we've already launched another production, and we are negotiating with our Chinese partners as European timber treatment partners are not reachable for us anymore, but we've discovered Asian partners, an Asian market for us, and we're planning to issue plywood and other materials. So this market is growing, and laminated plywood and cut timber are certain products, and now we can move towards even deeper treatment. So the opportunity that we have as medium business in our timber industry is growth, the opportunity of growth, where we're looking for new markets, new segments where we can replace with our product. So that's the main agenda nowadays. And we hope that our product, I would like to say, if we're talking about pallet materials, if we're talking about different types of products, plywood is the most eco-friendly product. So, because all impurities and other chemical elements and everything, they have the lowest index. So, and we are looking towards house buildings, for example. It's being discussed quite ardently, and we have all the opportunity to implement this project on the territory of our republic. But of course, we rely on the support from the government, because we need that badly. And if we're talking about export logistics compensation, even here we need the support, and if we get that, we'll will have the opportunity to overcome this difficult period that our industry, our branch faces. So we do not give up, but we go forward. So what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Any difficulties only strengthen us. So if this current situation hadn't existed, we wouldn't move to this deeper treatment or timber treatment. So thanks a lot for your speech and for the understanding of the situation. And of course, we focus on compensations of logistic expenditures of expert delivery, and all conditions are going to be preserved, and next time you can participate in the competition to get the support. And we also work with Ministry of Transport and Railway, and yes, we had some difficulties with shipping the products from the Far East, but we negotiated with the Russian railway company, and we managed to decrease that difficulty, and now this tendency is about 70–80% that eliminates some lines. And we're also working with some non-discrimination approach to providing transport service, where some particular goods are in priority, and we're trying to protect our local manufacturers. Thanks a lot, dear colleagues. We've already exhausted our current agenda, and now we can move on to the mode of open mic. And if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. I have a question. Daushan Alexei, the head of the company ESM, we are both importers and exporters, and we're providing what colleagues say that we've got to buy in China or in other countries. We've manufacturing technology equipment, and some people are still talking about purchasing this equipment in other countries, but people are ready to make the same mistake. As I said, that if people make the same mistake, it's just really psychotic. So yeah, that's just a joke, of course. But talking about our friends, we can say that, as Peter the Great said, Russia has only two friends, military and float. And talking about the problems that we have, both for export and import. So business doesn't go smooth all the time, so there are some jurisdictional issues and so on. So we're trying to include all the points of legislation in our contracts, and after negotiating with India or China, yeah, we managed to do that. And some people say that, yes, there is some problem in language barrier, but if we keep this dialogue on, we can achieve something. So talking about court trials, it lasts for about a year and a half, and even though if we understand that we can win it, red tape will be quite exhaustive. So even so, we say that we come and say that our company is in the list of companies which are under sanction, because we provide for aviation and military. And even in our Russian courts, we can't have the right procedure why we can't get any payment from other countries because of some currency problems and payment systems. And that's the problem of Russian courts, that people don't understand that there is this trial with a foreign agent, because we are not experienced in that. Second point, so that was the first point. I'm not going to talk about payment. Everyone knows this problem quite well, and it's been already mentioned. And even though there are some payment systems that are functioning, we don't get any payment, and tens of billions of dollars are just suspended because we can't get them. And all discounts that are proposed by banks, like 6% of, if we pay for about 6% of that profit, we will be able to get our payment, but maybe that doesn't really work. So, because we have to pay that, all the companies have to pay that to any banks, even our Russian banks, who then declare their own profits in billions of dollars. So then we've opened our branch of our equipment in Germany, and then we had to close that in 2022 because our colleagues German colleagues came and said that they would have some criminal responsibility because we are under sanctions, so that's why we had to close our affiliate, but we didn't get any payment, and now we have to provide a lot of documents to customs for the ship production, and we have no idea when we are going to get our money back. So, and the customs seems as if they don't even realize that we are under sanctions, and that's the problem as well. I would like to comment that your first thesis that you've mentioned, talking about medical terminology, that we're talking about investigation policy before the special military operation, when companies came to us and then they just took their keys and left us in our country. So this is just, this terminology is not going to be mentioned later, but anyway, our Asian partners are going to be quite ambitious to work with our partners, and of course some Russian co-investors should exist to work together. So, because even if the country or company will want to leave us, we will preserve our right for the technology that has been created. And talking about court system issues, I've already said that it's possible to try to negotiate and solve the problems before the trial, and I've already talked about that company, and I can give you their contacts later. So, we will bring up this problem on all levels, governmentals as well, and we will try to influence that situation. And the third moment was connected with customs directly, and getting back the profit in another currency as a foreign partner can't pay anything or return the equipment that we shipped, because it's prohibited to ship that back because of the sanctions. And yes, such cases have already been faced for the past year or year and a half, so we'll try to find a mutual solution. Thanks a lot. Hello. Talking about China, I would like to say that there is a company in China that provides services for importing sanctioned equipment, and they have some ports there. Some equipment from the United States can also brought there, so it can be brought there, and they will be less low duties because of that. So it's quite it's quite expensive to do that in China as well. So the equipment is delivered to the Far East, and then it can be shipped to Russia itself. And yes, it takes time, but at least it works. And plus, talking about some goods from Siemens, Schneider, and so on that we bring. Why am I talking about these products? Because all the equipment is set for that technology, foreign technology. That's why we're bringing that. And nowadays we can't buy anything directly from Schneider or Siemens. That's why we bring it through the third country. So here we're talking about gray or black schemes, illegal schemes, because the client risks to lose all money or equipment. So yes, some schemes work, but we don't think that it's quite risky, and we shouldn't discuss them at this round table. So we're trying to realize that as a logistic company for the past 2 years, these services, and that was our way to overcome those sanctions, to work with them, because more than 50% of our work is based on sanctioned goods. So thanks a lot. We are being broadcast, so if anyone is interested in what has been mentioned, our colleagues will be able to talk to you a bit later. So, any other comments or questions, dear colleagues? Yes, please, Arthur. My name is Savchenko Denis, Ishimbai Catalysator Factory. So I'd like to stop on a payment problem. It's quite serious that people cannot really provide their payment or receive any payment from foreign companies. Like, we can't get anything from Indian partners, or Turkmenistan stopped working with us. So what actions are being taken? What are perspectives in terms of payment? Is anything being done? So, well, for example, talking about Mongolia, how we closed our latest deal, we failed to work out the bank system, and the payment has been received for 3 times, but when we were trying through a bank, so Mongolia found Open Microfinancial Cooperation, which are located in Ulaanbaatar and Ulan-Ude, and we've got to bring money in cash, and we can put those money there in cash, but can you imagine this amount of money? When there is a huge stash of money is brought, like 22 million of rubles, or their own currency, that was like a Mexican illegal deal. So, okay, nowadays we have some development from the Russian side, and now we can sign such deals of getting payment in cash. So, but what's the mechanism? We have an offer to get payment in cash. I should go to another country, take that cash. Will I be allowed to leave the country? So all cash is registered in customs, and we've already had such a discussion today. I can provide you some contacts of our partners. I can introduce them. They are experts in customs registration. Do you mean customs registration of profit? I'm not really interested in customs registration here, but will I be allowed to leave another country with this briefcase of cash. So if you let me speak, this is a quite frequent problem, and we're working with our ministries and partners, and a lot's being done. For example, with China, the level of cash payment in their currency has grown to 95%, and we're also working with India, and central banks are trying to solve this problem as well. But why can't we work with Turkmenistan or other countries? The reason is that we don't have the level of trade balance, how much we've paid and how much we can back in their national currency. So, but another question, why can't we pay Turkmenistan for logistics? They don't accept our money. They don't accept Russian rubles. We have everything for that, accounts and so on, but they don't want to accept. So yeah, this problem will be addressed. Plus India, the problem is that it's not just that they can't pay, but India, who doesn't support any sanctions officially, when banks start implement the transaction, they say that the payment doesn't comply with some requirements. So that means that our company is under sanctions. So what's their position? Are they friendly or unfriendly? Or maybe their banks are unfriendly. So we should clarify this position. Why is it becoming a problem? Yeah, I understand that there is special banking system which works only for payments from Russia, but no one can pay to Russia with that system. So, and we can't use anything but SWIFT nowadays when the payment goes towards us, like export profit. So India is absolutely friendly country, of course. Maybe some separate subjects of economic and trade activities do not behave in a constructive way. That's the question of negotiations, and we are ready to join that, to address. So there have been loads of different negotiations. Just the Indian side is not satisfied with anything, and they don't have any other response, as that bank doesn't agree to provide the transaction. We've already requested all different levels, but we didn't have any response. So yes, we will address that. Don't worry. Dear colleagues, are there any other problems? I would also to add my tuppence. So yuan payment has the same problems with Turkey. Again, the payment was rejected, and banks sent us the notification that bank policy doesn't allow that. We changed the bank, but we had the same answer, and we can't have any deals in yuan as well. So please add that to the list of questions. Yeah, that's again the question of some certain banks. I would like to add as well. So now we can't make any solutions now, but thanks for addressing that. I have the same question. We're working with Kazakhstan, and this year I had to change 4 banks because we couldn't transfer any payment from rubles to tenge. And well, Kazakhstan has some bank transactions, but the company sends blacklists where all our banks are enlisted and they don't work with them. So this year we changed 4 banks, and if we are going to face the same situation next year, we will have to stop our export of heating equipment there. So, dear colleagues, here's a suggestion. Let's collect the list of all questions that have been addressed, and we will look through them. So, as I've said, we've discussed a lot of problems and solutions, talked about our businessmen and colleagues that they face. So in 2009, the level of national failure of economy was about 15% in comparison to 2008. That was the first crisis that we faced. In 2022, in comparison to 2021, it was only 1.3%. Now we have a growth to 7%, and these figures are quite convincing, and that's the result of our joint work towards short turnover loans. And now we're going through this stage of really key interest, but yeah. The support that we get helps us go through all the challenges. And of course, we've got some problems and we have some things to work on. And I'm really grateful for your hard work and attention to our meeting. And I would like to congratulate you with the upcoming new year, and I wish you great development. Thanks a lot.